Welcome back to Optical Communication video lectures. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about advantages and applications of optical fiber communications. Okay. By the end of this session, you will be able to learn what are the advantages and disadvantages of optical fiber communications. Okay. In optical fiber communications, we are going to have advantages as well as we are going to have disadvantages. Okay. And we will be able to find what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. Okay. Along with that, we are going to learn about different applications of optical fiber communication system. Okay. What are the advantages of optical fiber communications? One thing is wide bandwidth. The light wave occupies the frequency range between 2 into 10 power 12 hertz to 3 into 3.7 into 10 power 12 hertz. That is, how much is 10 power 12? 10 power 12 is terahertz. That is, the range is 2 terahertz to 3.7 terahertz. Thus, the information carrying capability of optical fiber cable is much higher. That means, since the bandwidth is too high, there is the capability which is very high. That is, you can transfer large amount of data as the bandwidth is very high. Hence, one of the advantages is wide bandwidth. The other one is low losses. Fiber optic cables are very less signal attenuating cables. That is, fiber optic cables offer very less signal attenuation over long distances. That means fiber optic cables can be used for long distances since they have very less signal attenuation. And we are going to discuss about attenuation in further slides. Okay, what attenuation is caused by three main reasons. One is bending, the other one is absorption, other one is scattering, and we are going to discuss about them in detail in the upcoming presentations. Typically, the attenuation is less than 1 dB per kilometer. That means attenuation is less than 1 dB per kilometer. This means if the attenuation is high, we need to use more number of repeaters. If the attenuation is less, the number of repeaters can be reduced. That is, this enables longer distance between repeaters. Okay. If the distance between repeaters is too large, then the number of repeaters can be employed for long distance communication can be reduced. Immune to crosstalk. What do you mean by crosstalk? Crosstalk is our signal interfering with some other signal, and then instead of our signal, we are going to receive some other signal, and this is known as crosstalk. We generally experience this while calling. Okay. Fiber optic cables have very high immunity to electrical and magnetic field. That means while wave is traveling, if an electromagnetic field wave is traveling, then there is external electric field. Some places you are going to find some electric discharges, or some places we are going to find some magnetic discharges. They are going to interfere with the electromagnetic wave that we are transmitting, and then since our wave contains electric and magnetic fields, the external magnetic field is going to change the properties. But in optical fiber cable, it is very immune to those electrical magnetic fields. That is, it is not going to allow any external electric field to enter into the optical fiber and then to induce its properties in the EM wave. Okay, so it is immune to electrical and magnetic field properties. Since fiber optic cables are insulators, hence they do not produce any electric field. That is, insulator doesn't allow current to pass through it. Since there is no current, there will be no magnetic field created by this current. Okay, thus fiber optic cables are immune to crosstalk between cables caused by magnetic induction. Due to magnetic induction, there is some crosstalk, and this will be avoided during using fiber optic cables. Interference immune. Okay, that is, what do you mean by immune? Immune means resistive. Okay, it is going to be highly resistive for interference. What do you mean by interference? Fiber optic cables are immune to conductive and radiative interference. That means other signal coming and interfering with our signal or disturbing the properties of this signal is known as interference. Here there are two types of interference. One is conductive and the other one is radiative. Caused by electrical noise sources such as lightning, electric motors, fluorescent lights. Okay. So our optical fiber communication is not going to get disturbed during lightning or electric motor interferences or fluorescent light interferences. Okay. Lightweight. Our optical fibers are lighter in weight, as fiber cables are made of silica glass or plastic, which is much lighter than copper or aluminum cables. They are lighter in weight. Optical fiber cables are lighter in weight when compared to copper and aluminum cables. Lightweight fiber cables are cheaper to transport. Okay, since the weight is less, the transportation charges are going to be less. Okay, small size. The diameter of the fiber is much smaller compared to other cables. Therefore, fiber cable is small in size, requires less storage space. Okay, that is, the space required to store a fiber is less because it is lesser in size. Okay, more strength. Fiber cables are stronger and rugged, hence can support more weight. As the fiber cables have more strength and rugged, that is, we are going to provide some protection layers, hence they can support more weight. Security. Fiber cables are more secure than other cables as they do not radiate signals and no ground loops exist between optical fibers. That means we are not going to form any ground loops in optical fiber communication. Hence, the signal information cannot be lost. So, if the signal information cannot be tapped by any other media, then we can say that the information that we are passing through the system is secure. Hence, it can be counted as advantage. So, there is a highly secured information communication using optical fiber. Long distance transmission. Less attenuation implies longer transmission distance. That is, since the attenuation loss we have seen earlier is 1 dB per kilometer, we can transmit our signal to longer distances with lesser attenuation. Okay, and then comes environment immune. Fiber cables are more immune to environmental extremes like operation over a large temperature and not affected by corrosive liquids and gases. That means if we are using copper cables, they are corrosive in nature, but optical fiber cables are made up of glass, hence glass is never going to get corrosion. So they are immune from corrosive liquids. Other one is environmental extremes like operation over large temperature range. If the temperature is increasing in some areas where the temperatures are too high, there you are not going to find any elastic nature in optical fiber cables, but your copper wires or aluminum wires are going to show some elastic property. The other one is safe and easy installation. They are non-conductors, hence there is no shock hazards as no current or voltage is associated with them. Since they are dielectrics, they won't conduct any current. Since they are not conducting any current, we can touch them safely. That is what I mean, safe and easy installation. The small size and lightweight feature makes installation easier. Since the weight is less, we can easily install them wherever we want. And coming to the cost is less for optical fiber communication system. Cost of OFC system is less when compared to any other systems. Okay. Now, after dealing with advantages, now let us consider what are the disadvantages we are going to find in optical fiber communications. First thing is high initial cost. The initial installation cost is very high compared to all other systems. That means when we are laying the optical fiber cables for the first time, there is a lot of work that we need to deal with. Okay, we need to place repeaters, we need to dig the ground, and we need to place underground cables, and we need to ensure that it is secure and safe. Hence, there is too much of cost associated with this first or initial installations. Okay, once we have installed, there is no need to repair them again and again. Okay, that is why we noted this cost as advantage, and the same cost is going to be disadvantage here. Okay, in advantages, when here referred to cost, that means no need to repair them every now and then. Okay, so the repairing costs are less, but installation costs are high, so they are counted as disadvantage. Maintenance and repairing cost. The maintenance and repairing of our fiber optic system is difficult and expensive too. Here we are counting the maintenance and repairing as expensive, and because generally there won't be any repairing in optical fiber communications. But if we have any problem with the optical fiber communication, then the repairing cost is too high because the connectors are very high and the optical fiber cable is also sensitive. Hence, we need to put more cost for this. Okay. Jointing and testing procedure. Since optical fiber cables are very small size, the fiber joining process is very costly and requires skilled manpower. Since the size of the cable is very small, they are very prone to breakages. Okay, so we need skilled manpower. Since we need skilled manpower, we need to pay them more. Hence, the cost is very high. Tensile strength. Optical fibers are more susceptible to buckling, bending, and tensile stress than copper cables. Copper cables comes with internal strength, but optical fiber cables are lesser in diameter, so they can easily bendable and they can break easily. The other one is This tensile weakness leads to restricted practice to use of optical fiber technology to premises and floor backbones with a few interfaces of the copper cables. So, since the tensile strength is restricted, we have tensile strength is very low, so we are not going to use these optical fiber cables on premises where there need to be too many connections. There we are going to use copper cables. Okay. Short links. Even though optical fiber cables are inexpensive, it is still not cost effective to replace every small conventional connector. That means if there are any connectors, we can't replace them easily between computers and peripherals, as the price of optoelectronic transducers are very high. Since the optoelectronic transducers, that means the converters which are going to convert electrical energy to optical energy or optical energy to electrical energy are very high cost. So we can't use them for shorter links. We can use them only for larger links. So optical communication becomes advantageous when we are talking about large communication, long distance communication. But for short distance communication, it becomes a disadvantage because it is too high in cost. Fiber losses. The amount of optical fiber available to protect detector at the end of the fiber length depends on various fiber losses, such as, like I mentioned earlier, there are different types of losses. They are scattering, dispersion, attenuation, and reflection. Due to these losses, this communication becomes disadvantageous. Okay. What are the applications? Where can we apply optical fiber communications? In telecommunications, we can use optical fiber communication. Optical fiber communication can be used for data communications, and then video control and protection switching, and we can use it for sensors. And then the other one is power applications. Okay. In telephone networks, how can we use optical communications? Optical waveguide has a low attenuation, as we mentioned earlier, high transmission bandwidth. We also discussed the same advantages compared to copper lines. Therefore, number of long-haul coaxial trunks, that is, links between telephone exchanges, are being replaced by optical fiber links. That means a number of long-haul coaxial trunks, coaxial cable links, are being replaced by optical fiber links. Okay. The other one is urban broadband service networks. Modern suburban communications involves video text, video conferencing, video telephony, switched broadband communication network. All these can be supplied over a single fiber optic link. That means previously we used to use different links for words, and the other one is for speech signal we used to use one wire, one channel, and the video signal we used to use one more channel. But with the advent of optical fiber, we can use single fiber for both videos and audios. Fiber optic cables is the solution to many of the nowadays high-speed, high-bandwidth data communication problems, and will continue to play a large role in future telecom and data networks. That means today we are highly needing the high speed. Today we are in high requirement of high speed, high data, high bandwidth. Okay, since we need more speed, we need more bandwidth, and fiber optic communication is going to serve this purpose because the bandwidth is too high since it is in terahertz. So here, what are the new terms that we have came across? One thing is OFC, that we are familiar with, optical fiber cables. The other one is we have discussed about sensors. Sensors is used for measuring the physical input from environment and converts it into data. Okay, it is going to take physical input. A sensor is going to take a physical input, and then it is going to give data as the output. Attenuation, the reduction of amplitude of a signal. What do you mean by attenuation? Attenuation is the reduction of amplitude in a signal. What do you mean by reflection? The change in the direction of a light wave is known as, that means if the light is entering, if it is being reflected, that means it is going to travel backwards after hitting a surface. And the other one is dispersion, change in angle of the reflected wave. What do you mean by dispersion? Dispersion is the change in angle of the reflected wave. And we are going to discuss about attenuation and dispersion in detail in the upcoming presentations. In the next class, we are going to discuss about optical fiber waveguides, and we are going to learn about ray transmission theory. Okay. Coming to the short answer and long answer questions that can be framed from this, short answer type of question can be of this kind. Write a short note on applications of optical communications. What are the different kinds of applications we have seen? Data applications, video communications, and other things. Coming to long answer questions, state and explain the advantages and disadvantages of fiber optic communications. Coming to the advantages, it can be used for long distance communication, cost effective, temperature insensitive, highly immune to electromagnetic interferences. Coming to disadvantages, we can't replace them. initial installation costs are too high. They come under as your disadvantages. Thank you. We will meet in the next lecture.